Hi friends, welcome back to Calm in the Chaos Homeschool. So today's video is the last of my series, my Term 2 update series that I'm doing these last 2 weeks. Last week I covered our group subjects or geography, history, and science, and Bible. And I also covered our morning basket, what is in it, how we liked it this past Term 2. My last video was my 4th and 5th graders' independent work, or the work that is more on their level. And today's video is my 6th and 7th graders, my girls, what they are doing, how they are doing with their independent work. Okay, so I have some big piles over here. They definitely have a little more than my boys, just because they are older and more capable and able to do more work. So I'm just going to be going over my independent work checklist to make sure I cover everything. And the first thing on there is our personal devotion. So it's the first thing we do each day. Each kid spends about 15 minutes. So we have this here. It is Word of Life, grades 5 and 6. My girls have had this for several years. I don't think we did a lot of it last year, but we're working on it this year. They're just getting as far as they get. Each day is like this. It is definitely more than the boys, so they just have a full page to do. They have scripture to read and then a topic and some things to answer there. So that is what we're doing this year for personal devotions. I mentioned in my last video that I picked up some Bibles for all my kids, so these are very beautiful. My daughter who loves pink got a pink one, and my daughter who likes teal got a teal one. So I will link those below, as well as all the other curriculum that I'm mentioning today. I mentioned this in former videos. Some will be affiliate links, some will not. If you use the affiliate links to purchase something, I appreciate it. If you just want to take a look using the links, totally fine. I just want to give you access to what I'm talking about and make it easier for you to do your research in deciding what you want for next year curriculum, because this is the time of the year when lots of moms are thinking about the next year and trying to decide what they want to add. So that being said, don't impulse buy. Make sure it fits in your plan for next year. I don't want to encourage anyone to go and spend more than they should or purchase more than they need for their kids for the next year. So just put it on your list and make sure you think about the whole picture before you go forward with any of these curriculum or supplemental materials. Okay, so next on our list would be math. So my 6th grader is doing teaching textbooks, Math 7 this year. And I'm showing you this workbook not because she's not able to do it on her tablet easily. She is able to do that. However, I did want her to start writing down questions and getting used to going through the whole process and not trying to do things in her head. So I did make sure that she got this workbook, and I've asked her to make sure she uses it this year to complete her work. And so she does it first in the workbook, and then she'll put the answers into the computer or tablet, and that will check her work for her and lets me know if we need to go over certain concepts. So the past 3 weeks, she has not been working on teaching textbooks. She has been trying out 3 different math programs that I've been doing research on for pre-algebra and beyond. I'd like her to pick something that she can use for the rest of her high school credits, or starting at pre-algebra and continuing into high school. So she has been trying out Nicole the Math Lady, and she did Mr. D Math. And this week she's working on Think Well Math. So I'm going to see at the end of the week if she wants one of these or if she wants to continue with teaching textbooks. That is still an option for her. So that's what she's been using this year. It's been going fine. As for my 7th grader, she is one that couldn't handle teaching textbooks. She did not like it at all. So last year we switched her over to the Good and the Beautiful, and her level at that point was Math 4. She is now working on Math 5. I would say we are slightly over halfway through Math 5. And if you are not a Good and the Beautiful math user, I do want to say she loves this. It is colorful. Every day is different. So this is level 5. They will have a video lesson that you can either get through this link or you can just go on the computer. All the lessons are free, even if you didn't purchase the book. You can print off these free PDFs up to a certain level, I think at least Math 6. So you can print all of these off if you want. We just really do enjoy it, and we just wanted the book. So They'll have a video lesson where she follows along and does some activities. They will have a mini lesson, so if you don't like the video lesson or if you need to refresh, this will tell you what basically the math skills that they're studying. And then they will have usually 2 pages, practice, and then a review section. So this can actually be quite a lot. So either if you're thinking of doing the good and the beautiful, or if you have been doing the good and the beautiful and you haven't adjusted it and your child is struggling or it's really hard for them, just know that there is a lot in the good and the beautiful. Each lesson does take quite a while. I would say we spend at least 1 hour in math, and I do cut it. We are not doing anything close to 5 lessons a week. For a while there, I was doing 4 lessons a week, saving the reviews and actually cutting out some of the review questions for that last day, for Friday. But even that has been too much for us lately. So I have just adjusted it so that we are doing 3 new lessons a week, and then I'll give her 2 days to catch up, finish up those 3 lessons, and do the review sections. So as you see, each lesson has a review section. Generally, we won't do that day. We'll come back to that at the end of the week and just do the reviews all together. So that's how it's been working for us. Of course, that slows us down a bit. I was hoping to be able to start Math 5, Math 6 sometime this school year, but we'll probably be waiting until next school year to start that. But I am okay with that. She is learning so much in the good and the beautiful math. I really like the tiny steps that they take to teach the concepts. I think the steps make so much sense. I am learning some things using this math with her. Only drawback is it does not mark her work for me, but that's okay because she is one that I have to sit next to when she's doing her math and pretty much check as we go. So that works for us at this point, but I'm very grateful that we have teaching textbooks for the other 3 kids so that they can be a little more independent, because I could not sit next to each of my children or even be able to correct all their work in a timely manner. So that combination is working for us so far this year and worked for us last year. One more component that the Good and the Beautiful has is mental math. They have it for, I believe, level 4 and 5. I actually had this last year, level 4, when we were doing level 4 in the Good and the Beautiful, but I didn't feel like she was ready to do the mental math exercises that are in here. So when we started level 5, we just started doing the level 4 mental math exercises, and I've definitely seen just some of that agility in math coming a little bit through using this. So I have purchased, when we start Math 6, or when we're just finished this book, I have purchased the level 5 mental math so that we can continue with the mental math as we continue on with the Good and the Beautiful math. Okay, so before I go into all of the language arts workbooks and different things that my kids do, I do want to mention this because I would forget if I didn't. Both of my girls have a notebook. In the notebook, they write written narration on the books that they are reading. So the books that they are reading this year are mostly books that are recommended in Bookshark or Sunlight D and E. So those are the books they're reading. And I will generally just, I have typed up the list in order, and so they'll just pretty much go down the list. If they get too far ahead, because it does correspond with our history, and sometimes we move very slowly in history, if they get too far ahead, I'll let them pick a personal pick book to read while we're waiting to catch up on our history. So we have little notebooks. Maybe twice a week I ask them to fill out 1 page of a written narration. So if you are not familiar with written narration, it is a Charlotte Mason way to do things. Basically, it's asking them to tell back what they have read, not to copy what they have read, but to remember the details from the book that they're reading and write down a summary of what they have read during that period of time. So the reason why this is effective is it is not, let me say, I really disliked reading comprehension questions as a child. I did feel like it ruined the reading for me, that I have to go searching for a certain answer to a certain question. I feel like with asking for a narration, you allow your child to synthesize and take the bits of information that is most important to them and write that down. So it is asking for recall, but it's also asking for them to figure out how to present what was important to them in that section. So in the upcoming years, as my girls are getting into high school, I am planning on using more and more written narration, not only for literature, but for science, for social studies, for things that they're going to be doing in their high school levels. And right now is the building blocks for that, having them practice being able to tell back the most important information and the information that stuck with them. And it allows me to see if they're understanding the story. So I can read the narration, and I've pre-read these books, so I can tell if the child is getting the main ideas or if they're just picking up on little tiny details that are not that important. And I will say that one of my daughters is the one that will write that information, not really the main part of the story. So we're just working on learning how to pick out the most important information, but also the information that will stick with them. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is something that we have stopped using. I really liked this program. I'm not saying we won't go back to it. There are 24 lessons, which are supposed to be over 24 weeks. We got to lesson 20, and then I put an end to it for now. I really liked it, especially for my 7th grader who really struggles with writing, with putting her ideas on paper. Let me just tell you, it is IEW's Structure and Style, Level 1A. I really liked it. I think that the keyword outline concept way of writing stuff really helps those struggling writers. I have never seen her write 3 paragraphs about a topic. She did end of our 20-week lesson. She wrote about dogs, which is one of her favorite topics, but it is so different from the one that I would have gotten when we started this program, I would say the beginning of last year. So I've really seen improvement in her writing. She really does need this structure. So I have really liked this program. My 6th grader, she is a very natural writer. She's creative. She does not have a hard time with writing, and she did not like this. It is too structured for her. The video lessons are very long. She would rather just, okay, give me the information really fast. I don't need jokes. I don't need to see what the other kids are doing. I just want the basic information and let me go do it. So she really didn't like those really long lessons, even 20 minutes. She just doesn't want to sit through that. So I decided it was becoming too much of a struggle to do that. She doesn't complain about a lot of things, and so I just thought, okay, let's just, for the last half of the year, let's pick something else for writing. So I did research a curriculum that I wanted to start with, but my parent partnership program said, no, I'll have to get it next year. So they had a shelf of workbooks that were available that people got and then never ended up using. So I went through that and I found some books that my kids can use for their writing for the last half of the year. So this is what I picked up. So first of all, for my 7th grader, I picked up this, Writing Fabulous Sentences and Paragraphs. It's a grade 4 through 6. So even writing sentences, adding descriptive words, things like that, even though that's very basic, it's still on her level. So that is what this has been like. So really I've found that I need to sit next to her to make sure that she is reading the instructions and following the instructions and doing some descriptive writing. This is a teacher book, so you are supposed to make photocopies, but I'm just using it. I don't think I'll be using it again for any other kids. So there's a teacher guide here, and then there's going to be several pages of activities working on whatever that concept is. I will say this is okay, not my favorite, not something I would purchase if I had all the choices, but it's okay. It's working okay for now for what I need it to do. So next for my 6th grader, this is what I found for her. Spectrum Writing grade 7. Now the funny thing about this is I used to be an ESL teacher, so English as a second language teacher, and I specifically remember using this book with my students. Once again, it's a workbook. We're very workbooky. It's okay. It's giving her a taste of what other writing things could be like. I'm not sure if she prefers this to IEW. Maybe, probably does. Honestly, she doesn't. Those videos just, she did not like that. So basically taking you through different types of story writing, fiction, narrative, persuasive, letter of complaint, informational writing, things like that, taking you through the writing process. So the brainstorming, pre-writing, proofreading, editing, all that to the final draft and publishing, takes you through the writing process over and over again on different types of writing. So I think it is a really good one for her to be using. It is at her level. So it's working for now. You'll want to stick around to see what I pick for my kids' writing next year because I'm changing it up. This is what I asked for, but I couldn't get. So stick around for that. If you want to see my curriculum reveals next month, I believe, I will be having 4 videos, all my curriculum reveals for all my kids. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Okay, I have more. Don't go anywhere. Next, for grammar. My girls have been using this, one since the beginning of last year and one since the end of last year. So my 2 girls are using both Easy Grammar Grade 4, that's my 7th grader, and then Easy Grammar Plus. So Easy Grammar Grade 4, let's see, we are on page 147. This is for my 7th grader who started it last year. There's about 200 pages, 230 pages. So I think we'll probably finish this next year. So that's 3 years with 1 grammar book. So that is how I do things. We do not do grammar every day. We might do it twice a week, 1 page a day. So very simple. I am continuing to enjoy Easy Grammar. It is a workbook, and I don't love workbooks, but I do love the step-by-step process that they take the kids through in learning grammar. So what will I do after this? If I finish 4, I'm not probably going to go to 5 because it's just going to be the same thing over again. So maybe I'll jump to 6, or maybe I'll jump to 7. I will just look at it and see what is the most appropriate level for my child at that time. At that time, she will be in high school. Doesn't matter, it's the same concepts being taught at the level that the student is at. So Easy Grammar, Grade 4, still working on that. And then Easy Grammar Plus for my 6th grader. She started this towards the end of last year. So she's been doing this about a year. There is still quite a lot. I tear out the pages. So she's done about that much. There's still quite a lot left. We'll just keep working on this or stick around and see if she's going to do this grammar next year or not. I did ask my girls. I gave them a choice of 2 different grammars, and you'll have to stick around to see what they picked for next year. But for now, we are working on that. So Easy Grammar Plus is, I believe, a 7th grade plus all the way to 12th grade. It's supposed to teach all the concepts that you need to know in grammar. And my 6th grader is just ready for that. The way they break it down is fine. For a 6th grader who can learn and pick up things pretty easily, works for us. So finally, in the grammar front, we did Michael Clay Thompson's Level 1 series this year as a group. And so we did Grammar Island, Sentence Island. We read those out loud. My kids did Practice Island. Every day we would do 2 of these sentences. We'd do 4-step analysis. So parts of speech, subject, what type of verb, we have prepositional phrases, and then a little more information about each sentence. So we got about 50 in, and there are 100 sentences. So I'm just adding this to my girls' loop. They do 2 sentences, maybe twice a week. So it shouldn't take long. They'll finish those up, and it looks like she's pretty far in it already. So both my girls have one of these that they do every so often. All right, so this next section is all other things that my 7th grader does. So she still is learning some of the phonics. I feel like she really didn't get phonics instruction when she was going to public school. So we're still working on the phonics. She's definitely improving in her ability to read words as far as new words, being able to break down the pieces. But we have been working really hard on phonics since we first started homeschooling 3 years ago. She is on Explode the Code level 8. That is the last level. And I did pick up something for her to do after that. And that was daily phonics, grades 4 to 6 plus. So this is a remedial thing. It's for kids that really struggle with phonics. But now as I'm looking at it, I am thinking this is too easy. This is too easy for her. We don't need to move into that. So I'm actually going to save this for my son who's in 5th grade this year. He'll be in 6th grade next year. He can do this after he's done his Explode the Code. So I'm just going to keep this for my son, and I'm so happy that looking at this, it's too easy for her. She's ready to move on to other things. So she does have a spelling program. My 6th grader does not. She's a very natural speller. It's not hard for her to learn how to spell words. My 7th grader has a spelling program, and that is Spelling You See. We are on level D. We are pretty much done. We're pretty much done level D. I have just like a lesson left or 1 week left. Probably at this point, we might be completely done. We are kind of close to the end of the school year, and it is something my parent partnership program will get for me, but not right now. So I have to wait. So, I mean, I don't have to wait. I could spend, it's not a cheap program. It's like $50 to get the whole thing for spelling. That's a lot. So we're going to wait until the new school year to get level E. That's okay. She can do some of these other things. I'm not sure. I might find some other ways for her to work on her spelling. I don't know. I don't love it because there's like 12, probably by the time she finishes it, there's still like 12 weeks left of school. So that is not my favorite. Maybe I'll look on that shelf that my parent partnership program has for spelling and pick something up in the meantime. But yeah, so we'll be moving on to level E next year. It is the program that has worked best for her. Okay, so now to my 6th grader. She doesn't do spelling, she doesn't do phonics, but I do add more vocabulary for her. It is a strength of hers, but I figure you can always learn more vocabulary. So this is also something we are almost done. This is Word Roots Level 1. This is for grades 5 to 12 plus. I've said this before, if you decide to go with Word Roots, I would start with beginning unless your child is already really good with words. She's really good with words, but we started with beginning and then we did level 1. So it is very, let's see, I don't have anything to show you right now because I've taken out all the pages, and so that's in her binder. But it's every week is very much the same. Every lesson is very much the same. It follows a very predictable pattern, which in general I like, but I don't know. I think she likes it okay. She wouldn't be sad if I got it next year, but I think I'm going to pass on Word Roots for next year. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But the other thing we're using for building vocabulary is Wordly Wise. This is something that I actually never thought I would use in my homeschool because it is so workbooky, but I am realizing, and I did use it as an ESL teacher, so that's why I know about it, but it is really a good program for learning new words. So we have probably 15 new words, and it's not just learning a basic definition of these words, but it's learning multiple ways that these words can be used and multiple meanings for these words. So it is really an advanced vocabulary system. And then they do have the same activities every lesson. So there's activity A is very similar. Activity B will be very similar. Activity C, activity D, and then E is always a passage that uses all the words in the passage. And then they have to answer questions either using the word of the passage or the question has a word from one of the words that they've used. And then there's often like a review, and once in a while there's a crossword puzzle. So I really think that this is a very good way to teach vocabulary. So she does not love it because it does challenge her. And I did accidentally get book 7. I was going to get book 6 for her because she is in 6th grade, and though she is very good with vocabulary, Wordly Wise is a more advanced, I would say, advanced program. So I wanted to get book 6. I accidentally ordered book 7, so I'm like, whatever, we'll just go with it. So I am going to pick up this next year for her. She doesn't love it, but I think it's good and challenging and helping her learn some new words. And she'll probably be headed for some kind of, I don't know, we're planning on her doing dual enrollment when she's older. So I do want to just prepare her for that. So as far as some extras or supplemental or just other things that my girls do, they are working on Big Life Journal. This is the teen edition. Last year we did the kids edition. We still really enjoy it. It has a lot of, I don't want to show you her work because this is more personal, but let's see. So this is kind of what the pages look like. They just go through different things, talking about different things, really working on growth mindset. Here's the table of contents. I've read this before. It all starts here, exploring you, dreaming up your life from dreams to reality, key to success. So planning for the future, mindset sort of stuff. So we enjoy this. I'm not sure what I think there's nothing after this as far as I know. But I think we're gonna take a break from Big Life Journal for my girls anyways, but it's been good and we have enjoyed it and I do recommend them. And if you're wondering if you want to do it or not, if your kid is, even if they're like preteen, quite an older preteen, I'd still go with the kids one, because then it always gives you the option to do the teen one later. And the teen one I think is like for 10 and up or whatever. So, I mean, the ages aren't so specific, but we have enjoyed that the past 2 years. They really do enjoy it when it's time for them to do that. Okay, so both of my girls are doing art this year. My 7th grader is doing this. This is the book 1 of the elementary 4 to 5. She does it independently or with the help of my 6th grader, because she has gone through this. My 6th grader is quite artistic, so she has gone through all of this before. She did this the year before. So my 7th grader is working through that, and we will be finishing that this year. Then my 6th grader, we went with the middle school book 2, because this is more color and composition, whereas this one is the elements of art. So this one has more color. It's been lots of fun. She's using pastels, and she's created some really beautiful pieces using pastels. So that has been fun to add some color. And you'll have to come to my curriculum reveals if you want to hear what she's choosing for art next year. So that has been good, and I'm having her speed up on this so that she can finish it this year. So she's doing a lesson every day instead of what we normally would do, like a lesson every other day. So it usually takes us 1.5 years to get through the curriculum, but I think we can finish it this year. So I'm just having her do a little bit extra art. So another thing that my 6th grader has been working on is the simple startup. She admitted to me that she has stopped using the workbook, but she is still watching the videos and enjoying those. Basically, it takes you through the thought process and then how to start a business and all the steps and all the things that go along with that. So she's been watching the videos that go along with this workbook. I'm okay with that. It is a little more advanced. It's supposed to be for middle school up to high school, but even for her, she's a more of an advanced middle schooler, the workbook is not super her style. So she's just enjoying the videos and kind of just going through the thought process there. I do have a link below to the course if you're interested in checking this out, as well as the workbook that you can buy on Amazon. I would suggest, though, you get the course to go with the workbook. I'm not sure if the workbook would work just in itself. Both of my girls have a physical activity box on their checklist, so they are doing dance twice a week. They both do hip hop, so that covers 2, and then the third one is usually going to the trampoline zone or trampoline place. So that's usually our 3rd active day. After that, we'll be ending that at the end of this month. So we'll see what they decide to do for their physical activity. So we have my 6th grader. She is doing a little more Chinese than the rest. She's my daughter who is adopted from Taiwan. So we all practice Mandarin as a group at least twice a week, but she just does a little bit more. She meets with an online tutor who lives in Taiwan and is actually a friend of my sister, so personal connection there. So she meets with her once a week for an hour, and then she does a little extra on Duolingo to practice her Chinese. And she's planning on continuing with Chinese as her high school language. So I'm planning on a high school Mandarin first credit for language, since she's been working on it for quite some time. Then we have code.org. Both of them are still working on that, and Miacademy. So that's, once again, supplemental, maybe twice a week. They go on there, they do some geography, science, and then they can play around in the world. So those are all working for us. Yeah, so that covers my 6th and 7th graders curriculum for term 2 and what's happening with us there. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see my curriculum reveals that are coming out soon. And if you liked this video, give me a like. And thanks so much for coming today. I hope to see you in my next video. Goodbye, everyone.